Have you heard this noise happening during the passage of all these strange images, all these strange informations, all these strange news? That is exactly the noise doing by your mind in front of all these catastrophic news and informations that are happening right now in the world. Your mind did it yesterday. Your mind did it before this video. But right now, your mind will no longer do this noise. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. All is depending of the time where you are listening us. Previously, we were talking about the Lgbtqxyz ideology, and I invite you to watch our previous videos on that topic, part 1 and part 2. We used the text of Paul Ori to describe that it is really important to know how the power is functioning and to discover how an ideology is working to colonize us. Let me tell you that God used in the Bible the same process discovered by Paul Ori. Paul Ori was saying that to use power, you need an emblem, a monument, and a ritual. Confucius said in his time that signs and symbols rule the world. Paul Ori calls the emblem, the monument, and ritual signs. He says that these three are useful and fundamentals to govern by an ideology. And that is how power is able to have an impact and to influence people. We have already described Hollywood and all the stars like the unforgettable symbol used by the devil to govern with the Lgbtqxyz ideology. There are those that you admire, that you love because of their talents. And there are stars because there are those who are able to show you a good way in life. That's why they are using all their abilities to show you always something that they are thinking it is better through movies, music, shows, and so on. Unfortunately, there are those who are under the influence. Against glory, fame, and money, they are obliged to wear signs like flags, jewelries, clothes, and so on. They are obliged to show their sympathy to this disgusting ideology. In fact, remember, we told about cancel culture, and all the stars fear the cancel culture. Even they are not really aware of that. They are fearing the cancel culture.
Debated it with me. So when you call me racist, homophobic,
I don't
sexist,
call you racist.
No, but I've seen all the stuff on Twitter in the last 2 days, right? This debate about me. Apparently I'm racist, I'm transphobic, I'm bigoted, I'm homophobic. It's all baloney. It's actually baloney. What I think should be happening is this whole gender debate, to me, has got completely out of control.
There are people, there are bigoted people in this country.
I don't accept there are 100
There are
genders.
bigoted people in this country who don't recognise your identity. Why is it okay when you recognise that that is unacceptable and bigoted for you to turn to non-binary people and say you don't recognise their identity? Isn't that a race to the bottom?
How can non-binary be transgender? What exactly are you transitioning?
Well, it's under the umbrella
You don't
term.
even believe in gender.
I've been subjected to more foul abuse on social media than I have in the last few days since this campaign started against me. And I say, what is wrong with debate? You and I came on and we debated it on here, right?
Yeah.
I actually learned a bit from you. And perhaps you learned a bit from me, and maybe you didn't. But your response to a good-natured debate on that is to now come back on and demand I get fired because you only want people sitting here that you agree with. And if it takes me to say on television, get away from this ridiculous control freakery stuff that no one's allowed to challenge it, if it's to me that says that, I'm going to say it. And you're not going to stop me, and you're not going to get me fired. There's a school where I grew up, near where I grew up, in Brighton, right? About 5 miles from where I grew up. There are now 85 kids identifying as gender fluid, non-binary. It is nonsense.
It's confusing people.
It's confusing everybody. You've got kids watching this programme now, hearing you say there are 100 ways to identify your gender. Not male and female. There are 100 ways to... You could be a two-spirit person. There are 100 ways to be
compassionate. What would be
you
better...
signed the petition to have me fired.
I did, because you don't seem to want to learn. But what would be better
is
if you wanted to learn...
I don't want to learn how you think.
I
don't want to think how you think is what you mean. You want to fire me because you want me to think how you think.
People on Twitter
and my
do
problem
as well.
about liberals today is they've become so illiberal, they're only interested in making other people agree with them and think like them. And if they don't, they no-platform them, they ban them, they cancel them, they sign petitions to get people fired, and it is utter nonsense.
Do you ever think you go too far?
Benjamin.
Do you ever regret some of the comments?
Sometimes, yeah.
But you must recognise that. And that's
but
about
not on
being
gender.
better.
Not on gender. It's on. However, what I don't do is I don't tell people that don't agree with me, you have to be fired or cancelled or deplatformed. I debate with them. I don't like a lot of stuff, but I'm happy to have a debate. When you and I debated 100 genders, I went away and thought, interesting debate. Now you're here to debate me getting fired because you don't like the fact I don't agree with you.
But do you not accept it can damage people?
No, you're damaging people. If you think that
why are you so offended or stressed out by people that you may well never meet?
Because you're the one signing a petition to have me fired. You want to cancel my livelihood.
What is so difficult about letting people live their lives?
And you have the gall to sit here and talk about, why are you so offended? Let me tell you why I'm so offended.
Piers, I don't talk like that.
No, but...
Today we will deeply talk about the monument and the ritual, because previously we were talking about the emblem. As you know, I want that you open your eyes and that your heart meet the truth. If I ask it to you, what is the way to govern with an ideology forever and ever and to do not be shaken? What would you say? Maybe in creating something that will always remember your influence and strength. And let me say that is yes, that is it. Let's talk about something that the managers of this ideology don't want to unveil. Let's talk about the gay lobby. In that idea, remember that a lobby is there to promote his own ideology by all the ways available, and they are able to create some ways. They want to convince politicians, economists, scientists, and so on. They want to convince you. They want to reach you.
The closet gay
it's
rapper.
Owned. The hip-hop community is most likely owned by gay, to be honest with
you.
you.
Do you think they'll be...
They're owned by gay. I happen to think there's a gay mafia in hip-hop.
Right.
There is an aspect of, I'm afraid, your lobby group, for want of a better word, the gender lobby group, which is highly abusive. It wants everybody that they don't agree with to be fired, cancelled, destroyed, and everything else.
When they want to reach politicians, it's always in giving them the assurance of their votes and of their money to support them. When they want to reach economists, they use all the statistics to show how their followers and members are wealthiest and smartest than others because they are practicing all the sexual things of these concepts. When they want to reach scientists, they give them the assurance that they can give them money to support their research. Remember, scientists need all the recognition, the next Einstein. They are able to give all their life to look after something and finally reach it, show it, and give the proof that their life was really useful because they find that thing out. And gay lobbyists are aware of that thirst. They know that there is not a lot of money ready to help scientists to search some things that we are not always sure of the results. That's why this person gave money to scientists against false scientific theories like we have observed homosexuality amongst animals, so homosexuality is real. Homosexuality is real and it's a will of nature because of the fact that DNA of LGBTQXYZ people is already like that before birth. LGBTQXYZ is a fact because there is a lot of proof since the antiquity. They know that you will believe in science because the devil wants to change the base of proof. Human being is living with proof. Human being needs evidence to be convinced. When you are in front of evidence and that all these evidences are matching your conscience and that you accept, you are building your belief. And if you are building your belief on a bad basis, you will do bad choices. You will have a bad conclusion. You will have a bad theory. And that is the case when they are using science to prove that homosexuality is real and natural and is the will of the nature. In fact, they are saying that homosexuality is the will of God. When they want to reach the most fake monument of the belief in God, they are present. I am talking about religion. They claim against religious because they know that they do not have the right to claim with God. They claim with religious because they know that they can reach them. They are doing all that is possible to mix their ideology with religion, in putting a lot of pressure. And when I am talking about religion, I'm talking about all the religions in the world. Not just Christianity. I'm talking about Islam. I'm talking about all the religion of the world. But you know that all religions are living and subsisting with governments and great donors. That's why they are obliged to claim love for LGBTQXYZ people and accept their marriage, their practices, and their life. But the real God has an answer against all this.
My position, the correct position, is extremely simple, sensible, obvious, and clear. The only mistake that somebody on my side of the issue can make, and very often people do make this mistake, in a debate of this kind, is to make the subject seem more complicated than it is, getting lost in the rhetorical weeds and losing sight of the main point. That's where the other side lives. They're out there in the weeds where things are muddy and muddled. They like it out there. They want to obscure the main point, mystifying what is actually quite simple. As long as you refuse to be baited into that trap and you stay on message, on the firm ground of truth and science and common sense, you can have this conversation anywhere, with anybody, on any platform, in front of any audience, and you will walk away the winner every time. And if you're a naturally argumentative bastard like myself, you'll even have fun doing it. Now, that gives you an idea of my basic strategy. So now we'll watch some clips of a few of the most important exchanges during the episode, and we'll see how it played out. We'll begin with the opening salvo, which came several minutes into the episode, as the first segment featured just the two non-binary diversity consultants spewing inane garbage unopposed. And I was backstage for that portion, just pacing back and forth, listening in horror, muttering incredulously to myself. And when it was my turn, I began by clarifying that everything that was said in the previous segment was total nonsense. And then we dived into the pronoun question. Let's watch.
There should be no construct of gender, just sex. You're either male or female.
Right.
And someone feeling in a mental, emotional way that they don't identify with the sex that they have been biologically created as and assigned at birth based on their genitalia, if they don't feel that way, that there's no construct that describes that, experiences that.
Well, that's got nothing to do with the reality. So you can feel however you want. I mean, I could sit here and say that I feel like a tomato plant, but that doesn't mean that I actually am those things. So your self-perception, you can have whatever self-perception you want, but you can't expect me to take part in that self-perception or to take part in this kind of charade, this theatrical production. You don't get your own pronouns, just like you don't get your own prepositions or your own adjectives. You know, it's like if I were to tell you, my adjectives are handsome and brilliant, and no matter whenever you're talking about me, you have to describe me as handsome and brilliant because that's how I identify. It makes no sense. You don't get your own pronouns. That's grammar. That's language.
So you think it's a delusion? Someone is self-delusional.
Yeah, I think it's delusion. It could be mental illness. It could be it's a lot of different things. With children, wow. You know, there's also just a basic confusion that all kids have. Like that's why when you hear someone, a parent say, "Oh, my 4-year-old son came to me and said that I'm a girl now, and so that's what I'm gonna raise him as a girl." No, you're a 4-year-old. I have 4 kids. When a 4-year-old boy comes to you and says, "Oh, I'm a girl," here's a good follow-up question. What is a girl? Ask him what he means by that. What do you mean by girl? And when you ask him that, here's what he'll tell you. He will tell you what he really means is that he wants to do some of the things that girls do, like play with the dollhouse, or you know, he likes the color pink. That's fine, play with the dollhouse. But you're still a boy.
Defining womanhood is just a project of someone who identifies as a woman.
Yeah, but what do they identify? That's what I'm saying. What do they identify as? They identify as a woman, but what is that?
I honestly don't know.
A woman has its own duty, and a man has its own duty, and a lady cannot do the duty of a man, and a man cannot do a duty of a woman.
Can a man become a woman?
No.
No?
No.
What about a transgender? Transgender?
No.
No?
It will look like if you want to become a lady but you're a man, you have something wrong in your mind. Something wrong in your family, something wrong in you.
What about if someone was non-binary?
Come again?
Non-binary? Do you know, like someone is
you're not a woman, you're not a man.
Yeah, someone is neither. There's something else. Is that?
He's saying we have never seen things like those. For a man, he has a penis. For a woman, he has a vagina. So we know this is a lady, this is a man.
What if it's a woman with a penis?
Both.
Is that? People are laughing. Is that a dumb question? Dr. Marcy Bowers, first of all, thanks for talking to us.
My pleasure.
So you're a world-renowned gynecologist and surgeon. You're also a transgender woman. Can you tell me a little bit about...
Well, I mean, I identify as a woman, but...
You're a woman, right.
I'm a woman I mean, that's my life, day to day, but I have a transgender history.
Let's say if you want to sleep a woman, definitely you'll do sex.
Sex with a woman, yeah.
And you the vagina, is it? But for the man, where do you You ask that question.
I don't know all the logistics of it. Based on what I'm saying, would you ever want to move to America?
They say no.
But what is a woman?
A woman is it's a combination of your physical attributes and then what you're showing to the world and the gender clues that you give. And hopefully those match your gender identity.
The critics on the other side of this, of this issue.
There aren't many, but go ahead.
There aren't many who would disagree with what you're saying about...
Well, you know, the dinosaurs of the world are certainly out there. Yeah.
Male gametes. That's what makes me male.
No, your sperm don't make you male.
Then what does?
It's a constellation.
In reality, in truth, okay?
Whose truth are we talking about?
The same truth that says we're sitting in this room right now, you and I.
No, you're not listening.
If I see a chicken laying eggs and I say that's a female chicken laying eggs, did I assign female, or am I just observing a physical reality that's happening in the world?
Does a chicken have gender identity? Does a chicken cry?
Well,
Does a chicken commit suicide? Let's
What does that have to do
frame
with-
it, because you're trying
A chicken has sex like any biological
chicken has
organism.
an assigned gender, but a chicken doesn't have a gender identity.
So we assign female to chickens when they lay eggs?
We assume they're female if they lay eggs.
God is God. He is not a man. He is not a religious. He is not a scientist. He is not an economist. He is God. And like he is God, he can use whoever he wants to put them in shame and give them retribution. That's why I'm congratulating Mr. Matt Walsh. Because God is using him, and God is using many politicians, many scientists, many economists, and many people in many spheres to talk against the Lgbtqxyz ideology. Let's read a text.
A woman shall not wear a man's garment, and a man shall not wear women's clothing, for whoever does these things is an abomination to Jehovah, your God.
If a man sleeps with a man as one sleeps with a woman, they have both done an abominable thing. They will be punished with death, their blood will fall on them.
You, people of Lgbtqxyz ideology, you already know the salary of this. Open your eyes. Change. Because many of you who were previously with you have already discovered the truth. That your ideology is bad. That it is not real. That it is not natural. That's why, if some of them changed their sex, they want to become one more time like their birth. That is because if some of you had same-sex relationship, they want to change, and they are changing. They have changed. You can change. I know that you can change.
Nobody in my life knew, nobody professionally or personally knew.
And I am here today because I am gay.
I lost my sitcom when I came out, and it took 3 years for me to get back on television.
Maybe this will answer your question.
I am proud to say that I am a fortunate homosexual man.
And I know what it is to be bullied, and I know what it is to be discriminated.
But what he actually received was the incredible amount of love and admiration.
It's such a weird thing being a gay couple. Well, at my age.
But now apparently I'm told that every celebrity is expected to honor the details of their private life with a press conference, a fragrance, and a primetime reality show.
And Donald, if you didn't like me then, you're really probably not gonna like me now because I'm hosting SNL and I'm like so gay, dude.
In the kingdom, the ritual to become citizen of the greatest nation is the baptism. King Jesus showed us the way. But why? Just because the baptism is the only way to accept a philosophy. In fact, in accepting to be baptized, you are accepting to join the philosophy of the kingdom of God. You are accepting to promote the ideology of the kingdom of God. You are accepting to put your entire life on the kingdom of God and to do one, to become one with the owner of that idea. In accepting to be baptized, you are accepting, in other terms, to have the same spirit, same minds, same thoughts with King Jesus as it is recommended in the Constitution. And you know why? it is really important to make it official. King Jesus made his baptism official. It is really to make your baptism official. And let me tell you that it is the same thing with the ideology of Lgbtqxyz. They have accepted to be presented officially like promoters of this ideology. That is why cancel culture exists. Because cancel culture is the answer if you don't want to accept, to show that you are with them. If you do not say publicly, yes, I do, yes, I want, yes, I'm okay, yes, I support, they will cancel you in all the medias, all the meetings, all the awards, all the movies, in all the entertainments, all the shows, etc. You will live like a stupid person in front of them. They will persecute you on Facebook, on Twitter, on Google, in the world, because they want to humiliate you and show you that you are homophobic. What is the meaning of the word homophobic? I am homophobic. I know that many people are homophobic because we don't negotiate with that ideology. That's why we are all homophobic. I am homophobic because I don't accept that ideology near of me. So I am homophobic. For them, the sign linked to the ritual is the coming out. Remember that the sign linked to the monument was the LGBTQ lobby, the gay lobby. Remember that the sign linked to the emblem was Hollywood, all the stars and entertainments. And the sign of the ritual is the coming out. When you change your sex, you are doing your coming out. When you go in parties where your friends are doing a gangbang with people of same sex, you are doing your coming out. When you are wearing clothes of the opposite sex, you are doing your coming out. When you are having officially love with your pet, you are doing your coming out. When you are changing the sex of your child of 3 years old because he or she feels like the opposite sex, you are progressist for them, you are acceptable, you are tolerant, you are doing your coming out. When you are dancing for your first time in gay pride, despite the fact that you are straight, you are doing your coming out. When you accept to watch movies financed by them where people of same sex are acting every day, you are doing your coming out. When you are called sympathizer by them and are telling every day, oh, gays and lesbians, LGBTQ people, I have nothing against them. Everybody do what he wants with his body. Let me tell you that you are doing your coming out. Stop that coming out. Stop to come out. The LGBTQXYZ lobby has maybe succeeded to reach you. In doing that, you don't care because maybe right now when someone is doing his coming out near of you, you don't care. You are saying that is his life. When you have a colleague, a spouse, a child in front of you who is doing his coming out, you are saying that you don't care. because that's not your life. That is not your business. But let me tell you that you are using the LGBTQXYZ concept every day because you are buying products of their sponsors and you finance their cause because you are giving them your money to buy an iPhone, to buy something, because you are giving them money every day. People of the kingdom of God, through the word, hear my voice. Let's create our own businesses, our own TV shows, our own economy, our own social networks, our own companies. Let's challenge that ideology. Let's challenge that word with the kingdom truth, the only truth. They are using propaganda every day, and we are all victims of this propaganda. For myself, I am persecuted until my TV with your propaganda. Where is our propaganda? If you have heard that video, please react. Join us. Fight. Because they will never succeed to close our mouth. Follow us everywhere on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, on BitChute, on Rumble, on Podbean. Follow us. We are available. You can join us. Follow us. And let us see at the top where eagles are living and where eagles are flying.